creative process, it was a little different this time because I still have to turn over the lyrics to my PO, and then my PO turns them over to the government and to the prosecutor so they could put them on the record. And if they feel like I'm going too hard or feel like I'm name dropping or talking about active cases or putting people's lives in dangers by exposing them, things of that nature, then the prosecutor could bring me back in front of the judge and ask her, to violate me. You know what I'm saying? So it is. I did have to tone it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't go as hard as I could have went or hard as I usually go or get too deep into my story. You know what I'm saying? Because I know them people listening and I know them people watching. But, at the same time, like, I still did BG. You know what I'm saying? And, the album came out super dope.
Hell yeah. You got anything on that, ASAP?
Does that make your creative process like you feel like they're trying to stunt your growth, a little bit with all that shit? Like, because
I mean,
like how
I
they give you
mean,
a hard time when it comes to like traveling, like to do
nah,
like
nah,
say
they,
if you
they,
was to
I ain't
want to
gonna
do a
lie.
show out here.
Yeah, nah. They didn't eat. They didn't pretty much ease up on me on that. You know what I'm saying? The judge told me, that I could travel. She not gonna give me, no, that I could go make a living. You know what I'm saying? And do all my shows. But she was like, I could work with, convicted felons as long as it's work related. But she don't just want me just, hanging out, you know what I'm saying, and just, having a good time and doing all that, you know what I'm saying, with convicted felons and, people, from my past that I ain't got no business hanging with, you know what I'm saying? But when it's work related, yeah, like my PO haven't gave me a problem, ever since I went to court and the judge granted everything, like, my PO have approved, like, every travel request that I put in, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just come off a hot boy run. You know what I'm saying? Well, we did Houston, we did Charlotte, we did Tampa, we did St. Louis. Man, I forgot. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I've been traveling, doing shows all over. Milwaukee. Man, yeah, I could go on and on, but yeah, they definitely have eased up on me and let me, get out here and go make a living. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. But all this should be behind me in the next few months. You know what I'm saying? Because since I came
Yeah.
home, I pretty much did everything the right way. You know what I'm saying? I ain't failed
Hell yeah.
no drug test since I've been home. I did all my community service. You know what I'm saying? I did all my classes. I go speak to the youth, in the
Yeah.
juvenile jails and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I got one more class to finish. I got like three more sessions. And then once that class over, you know what I'm saying? My lawyer gonna file a motion, you know what I mean, to terminate the rest of my probation because I only had 2 years, right? You know what I'm saying? And I've been on it a little bit over a year already. But my PO had already told me if I gave her a solid year, that she would support my motion to terminate the second year. So, once I finish with, this last obligation I got, then I'm gonna file a motion to terminate the rest of it, and hopefully by the summer I could be off.